Hello, and welcome to Residential Life. My name is John Fox, and I have the pleasure of serving as your director. The mission of Residential Life is to provide facilities, services, and programs that support the academic mission of UMBC and enhance the quality of life for all students who live on campus. We foster the personal, social, academic, and leadership development for residential students and prepare them to be active and responsible citizens within the community and beyond. Our vision is to co-create exceptional and innovative learning environments with our campus community.
This semester looks different for all of us, but we remain committed to innovative community building even in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. If you've lived with us before, know that this semester will look different than past years you've been with us. If you're new to residential life, know that this semester will be far from typical, and we look forward to building community with you. Expect campus to look different. Our residential facilities are open at roughly half capacity, most classes are fully online, and many student services will be provided virtually. While the campus will be quieter than usual, we're still here to support you. This is certainly an unprecedented semester, so while we've made this video to give you some information, please know that some things may change. Be sure to regularly check your UMBC email and know that up-to-date information is always available on the UMBC and Residential Life websites.
Residential Life is made up of a group of full-time professional staff members, graduate assistants, and many student staff members who specialize in a variety of functional areas to keep our communities running smoothly. In line with state guidance, many of our staff members who can work from home will be doing so, but our central staff office can still be reached at 410-455-2951, and contact information for all our professional staff members can be found in our directory. A number of staff members will continue to work on campus to best serve our students. This includes our community directors, student staff, including our resident assistants and desk receptionists, and our facility staff that includes maintenance assistants, tradespeople, and housekeeping staff.
Community directors, or CDs, are full-time live-in professional staff members who serve in each of our residential communities. CDs supervise the resident assistant staff of each community, but also serve as a resource and a point of connection between each community, residential life leadership, and other resources on campus. If you have a question or concern that your RA can't directly help with or refer you to a campus resource, they'll probably pass it up to the CD. CDs also serve as conduct hearing officers in the community. Resident assistants, or RAs, are student staff members who serve as a resource, community builder, role model, guide, or just someone to talk to. Particularly in this unprecedented time, RAs are here to make sure you feel part of your community and connected to our campus. RAs also enforce policies and document policy violations in the community when necessary. There's an RA on duty every night and 24 hours a day on the weekends. To get in touch with the RA on duty, you can call the desk of your community who will route your concern to the RA.
Our community desks are staffed by desk receptionists 24 hours a day, so there's always someone who can assist you. The DRs help to keep our halls secure and also serve as an easy point of contact with residential life. If you ever need to speak with someone but can't find your RA, you can always call your community desk and they'll be happy to connect you with a student staff or professional staff member. Historically, the desks have been used as hubs to sign in guests, check out games and equipment. However, some of these practices have been suspended or modified due to COVID-19. Like in years past, the desk will still serve as a point for mail and package delivery, and they'll also be there to support you if you have questions. You will still be required to show your UMBC ID, proving that you live in the building as you pass by the desk. And if ever you find yourself locked out, the desk will be there to help let you in.
Our facilities staff works within our communities to keep them functioning properly. Our staff includes maintenance assistants, or MAs, residential students who handle minor facilities issues, full-time tradespeople, and housekeeping who maintain and upkeep the buildings. This semester, in particular, our housekeeping staff will be working diligently to keep common areas sanitized in keeping with health and safety protocols. If you encounter a non-urgent facilities issue in your space, such as a light out or a slowly dripping faucet, you may submit a Fix-It work order request at fixit.umbc.edu. If you encounter any urgent issue or facilities emergency such as a fire or flood, get in touch with your community desk and the desk receptionist will route the concern appropriately.
Upon enrolling at the university, UMBC students agree to abide by the Code of Student Conduct and COVID-19 addendum. And when they sign their housing license, residential students agree to abide by the Residential Life Rights and Responsibilities Guide and the Retriever Community Agreement. As a resident student, you have agreed to uphold the community standards set by these documents and will be held accountable for any violation of these standards. Therefore, you should take the time to read these documents. Click on the link and make sure to bookmark it. It will be your most important resource for referencing policies at UMBC. Everyone is at UMBC first and foremost to get an education. If we want to live and study with integrity, we need to know the policies for our area. These policies are created to protect each member of our community and preserve the academic living learning experiences of our buildings.
It's important to review the alcohol and drug policies on campus. These policies are designed to keep you and other students in the community safe. Students each year report that the alcohol and drug use of others has a negative impact on their experience, so it's important to be considering how your actions impact the community. Remember, it's state law and university policy that any person under 21 may not purchase, possess, or consume alcohol. Therefore, if you're under the age of 21, you may not have alcohol present in your room, even if you're hosting a guest over the age of 21. Further, possession or use of illegal drugs, including marijuana and controlled substances, or drug paraphernalia is prohibited. If you're concerned about the health and safety of another student or friend because they may have consumed too much alcohol or some other substance, immediately contact a residential life staff member. If you think it's life-threatening, contact UMBC police. Remember that the community desk is staffed 24/7 when communities are open, so calling or reporting to the front desk may be the most efficient course of action.
You guessed it. We have rules around noise in residence halls. Excessive noise can be disruptive to others in your community who may be trying to sleep, study, or enjoy their space. On weeknights, that's Sunday night through Thursday night, quiet hours begin at 10 p.m. and end at 8 a.m. On weekends, quiet hours begin at 1 a.m. and still end at 8 a.m. Technically, that's Saturday and Sunday morning, but you may refer to it as Friday and Saturday night. During quiet hours, excessive noise, which can be heard from more than 2 doors down the hallway, is prohibited. Additionally, we have a 24-hour courtesy hour policy, meaning that at any time of day, a reasonable request from a neighbor to quiet down should be accommodated. Because noise is one of those things that impacts other students around you, it is something that we take seriously here at UMBC. And if you are heard at a disrespectful level, the issue may be addressed by an RA and could result in documentation. The best way to maintain respect within a community is to talk to each other about noise levels. Ask your neighbor, is my music too loud? Is my TV too loud? Or tell your neighbor if their noise is at a level that is excessive.
Quiet hours and alcohol policy violations make up a significant amount of residential policy violations here at UMBC. But the policies we mentioned are far from an exhaustive list. Please be sure to read the Code of Student Conduct and Rights and Responsibilities Guide to ensure you aren't unintentionally violating policy. Please know that the role of our resident assistants when faced with any potential policy violation is to document what they see, hear, and sometimes smell. It is not their role to decide what the outcome of a situation will be. Please be respectful and cooperative of RAs documenting any situation you may be involved with. If you have any questions about being documented or next steps in the process, you can reach out to your community director or the assistant director of residential student conduct.
Since the health and safety of our community are paramount, the Rights and Responsibilities Guide has been updated to reflect the actions we as a community can take to keep each other safe in the era of COVID-19. Beyond simple social distancing and frequent hand washing, this video outlines some of the changes, but please take time to review the Code of Conduct, COVID-19 Addendum, and the Rights and Responsibilities Guide to make sure that you understand all of the changes.
In line with guidance from the state of Maryland and the CDC, students will be required to wear face coverings inside residential facilities. Face coverings should cover both your nose and mouth and should not be removed or lowered in public spaces, including lobbies, hallways, stairwells, lounges, community rooms, and community kitchens. Students may remove their face coverings in their personal bedrooms. If you live in Harbor Hall, Erickson Hall, or any of our apartment communities, it is up to the discretion of you and your roommate if face coverings must be worn in spaces shared by your suite or apartment. Think of your face covering like pants. You have to wear it in any public spaces, you can take it off in your bathroom and bedroom, and it's probably a good idea to ask your roommate what they're comfortable with before taking it off in the living room, especially if guests are around. Also, just like wearing pants around your ankles doesn't really count as wearing pants, wearing your face covering around your chin or neck really doesn't count as wearing a face covering. Remember, a face covering is a well-secured paper or cloth that fully covers a person's nose and mouth. This can include scarves that are secure and provide full coverage. However, this does not include material with visible holes or gaps, like lace, mesh, or materials that have been knitted or crocheted. Additionally, face coverings with exhalation valves should not be used. Face shields are not sufficient unless they are accompanied by an appropriate face covering. If you need a face covering, masks will be available at your community desk, but they are not washable and should be discarded after use.
In order to ensure that residential facilities have been de-densified, the guest policy has been modified. Residents may only host one guest at a time, and guests must be limited to those in an assigned space in the same community. For example, if you live in Patapsco Hall, you can only have a friend over to your room if they also live in Patapsco Hall, and you wouldn't be able to visit a friend in Potomac, the apartment, or any other community besides Patapsco. For our apartment communities, you are able to have guests who live in the same apartment community. West Hill, Terrace, and Hillside are considered part of the same apartment community. While West Hill residents may host Hillside and Terrace residents, Walker residents may only host residents of Walker. Since each resident may host one guest at a time, this means two individuals may be present in any of our traditional style residence halls, that is the resident and their guest. In our suites and apartments, up to 2 guests may be in the suite or apartment maximum. For most of our communities, this means both residents of the apartments and suites may each host a guest simultaneously, for a total of 4 people in an apartment or suite. However, for residents living in Walker that may have more than one roommate, only 2 guests are allowed at a time. This means the apartments with 3 roommates, 5 people may be present, the 3 roommates and 2 guests. And for an apartment with 4 roommates, 6 people may be present. That means the 4 residents and 2 guests. If more than 2 residents wish to have guests simultaneously, the residents must find alternate plans.
If you're living in a suite or apartment, please be considerate of your roommates. Be proactive in having discussions about housing guests and what conduct is acceptable for those guests. Are they allowed in the common spaces? Should they wear a face covering? These are conversations you should have before inviting guests into your space and will be addressed in the roommate agreement process this year.
Unless an exception has been made by ResLife professional staff, all guests should be from within the community. There is no need to sign in guests since they already live in the community, and you will receive information from ResLife about how to sign in approved exceptions at the time the guest is approved. Fortunately, this allows for greater social distancing to take place at the front desk. Since no one from outside the community will need access, even to the lobby, front doors to our communities will be locked 24/7 and you'll need to swipe to gain access. This means 2 things. First, It's vitally important that you carry your UMBC ID with you at all times, since the black and gold ID card is your key to the building and your individual room. It's a good idea to keep it in your phone case or wallet. Second, you may not hold doors for others or prop open any doors requiring card access. Though it may feel impolite, everyone who needs access already has it, and anyone grabbing a door that hasn't closed may not be authorized to enter the building. Plus, it's hard to keep 6 feet when you're holding a door for someone.
Per university guidance, a public space should have 200 square feet of area per person to ensure that folks can properly social distance. Therefore, some of our common areas may be locked and inaccessible for the semester. Other common spaces will have a posting of the maximum occupancy of the space based on its square footage. Staff are instructed to document all students in a space that's over capacity, regardless of who was there first. So if you're using a common space, please be considerate of the amount of time that you're spending there and how you're using the space. Don't camp in a lounge all day. Sort your laundry before heading to the community laundry room and fold it when you get back to your room. Particularly in shared kitchens, be sure to sanitize areas before and after you're done, and don't leave dirty dishes in the sink. Lastly, please stay 6 feet away from others whenever possible while you're using these common spaces.
If you notice community members failing to adhere to safe social distancing practices, you're encouraged to hold them accountable as you feel comfortable doing so. If individuals still fail to follow policy after you remind them of it, or if you aren't comfortable addressing them, feel free to refer issues within residential facilities to residential life staff members, like an RA, community desk, or community director, and for issues outside of residential facilities, contact UMBC Police. Residential life can't require that residents stay on campus for the duration of the semester. However, it's strongly recommended that residents limit off-campus travel and travel safely when they choose to do so. Always maintain good social distancing practices and be particularly mindful if you need to travel to areas or visit individuals who pose an elevated risk of transmitting the virus. Upon your return, it's recommended that you quarantine until 14 days have passed and you show no symptoms of the virus. Remember that irresponsible practices off campus can put you and your peers at risk of contracting COVID-19.
In order to help keep both individual residents and our community safe, all students living on campus this fall will be required to perform daily symptom tracking to ensure that UMBC can respond immediately to any possible COVID-19 symptoms. You should bookmark the daily symptom tracking website, which you can find at umbc.edu/go/symptom-tracking. In the form, you'll report your body temperature to indicate whether you may have a fever and any symptoms you've experienced that have been associated with COVID-19. It's as easy as checking a few boxes, and it takes about 30 seconds to complete. If you have your own thermometer, bring it with you to campus so that you can start symptom tracking as soon as possible. If you don't, that's fine. A thermometer will actually be included with welcome materials placed in your room prior to move-in. This is also a great opportunity to sign up for our E2 campus alerts. This is UMBC's emergency text alert system that we'll be using this semester to send updates as well as daily symptom tracking reminders.
If you test positive for COVID-19, have been in close contact with someone who has recently tested positive, or have reason to suspect that you or someone you've been in close contact with may have the virus, please fill out the COVID-19 case report form and contact your RA or CD as soon as possible. Residents who test positive for COVID-19 will be required to self-isolate. That would likely involve relocation to an isolation space on campus. Residential Life will provide support and additional details to any student who tests positive.
Again, the summary of policy changes involving COVID-19 in this video are not exhaustive. Guidelines can change rapidly, and this video is not intended to serve as your primary source of information around COVID-19. Take some time to educate yourself about the virus. Be sure to frequently check your UMBC email account for updates from Residential Life in UMBC, and know that the most up-to-date information will be located on Residential Life's website and covid19.umbc.edu. Also, did we mention to read the Code of Student Conduct and the Rights and Responsibilities Guide in their entirety? If you or someone you know has an emergency, we continue to have UMBC Police available 24 hours a day, every day. Make sure to plug their number into your phone. Their phone number is 410-455-5555. 5555. Calling this number leads to a quicker response time if you're on campus than if you dial 911. And it can be used for both emergencies and non-emergencies. So once again, that phone number is 410-455-5555.
UMBC must be a safe place where we all can succeed. We accomplish this in the residential community by working together to put a priority on community. We recognize our residents are all here as students first, and we want everyone to be able to succeed in their academic goals.
Seek ways to resolve conflict on your own first. Then talk to the RA or the community director if you don't make any progress. If there's a conflict with your roommate or another person on the floor, it's always better to talk about it while respecting the boundaries of others. In order to minimize conflicts, resident assistants will facilitate agreements for those sharing spaces, including shared bathrooms. Additionally, they will facilitate a virtual gathering around standards for the entire community, like a floor, wing of a building, or an apartment stack.
Acts of intolerance are incidents that intentionally target another individual person in the community based on any factor of their identity, for example, race, sexual orientation, religion, etc., are against the principles of our community and are unacceptable. If you ever feel targeted, you should talk to your RA or professional staff member.
UMBC has a sexual misconduct policy that outlines guidelines for treating others with respect. It is important to know this policy, understand the importance of consent, and act in a way that helps us to respect each other. Generally, please treat the other members of our community with respect. If at any point you do not feel safe or are concerned about a fellow resident, please reach out to a Residential Life staff member.
In line with our principles, we at Residential Life work with our residents to co-create opportunities for community and involvement within our facilities. Much of what we do is rooted in restorative practices. However, as we prioritize social distancing at this time, some of the ways we interact will inherently look different than a typical year. A community gathering or floor meeting cannot involve the entire floor circling up in a lounge space and utilizing a talking piece. And many of our signature events, particularly large-scale events, just aren't possible. However, fear not! We'll still be reaching out and finding ways to get you connected to broader UMBC community. We will be able to find out about our events and events held by other offices through your RAs and My UMBC.
All official virtual events and hangouts from Residential Life will be held over WebEx, Blackboard, or Google Meet. The systems utilized by UMBC for video conferencing and virtual connection. These tools can take some getting used to, but we have put together some sheets with tips on each of these platforms that can be found here in order to make these events run smoothly. Also, know that your RA will reach out to you early on via your UMBC email to figure out which form of communications are best to stay in touch with you and keep the connection within your community.
It's going to be a different kind of semester for all of us, but we are here for you. Don't be afraid to ask for help at any point in time. Be sure to check out our website for the most up-to-date information, and if you still have questions, feel free to reach out to us by email or by phone. You can also check out our website to see if we have any current events scheduled, and we're always happy to interact and answer your questions. We're so excited to see you and make you a part of the Residential Life family. Welcome home.
Welcome home. We're so happy you're here.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home, welcome home, welcome home, welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.